cash out, then you have to refinance. So for the realtor, this was a really great deal because she got to come in and put no money down to buy this house. She just kind of had to wait off the seller's ability to pay off that financing over time, and picked up something really good that way. And so that's how I kind of got into seller financing, but I can tell you a lot of the ways that we've used seller financing for people is to say, hey look, the people that need to use your seller financing, it may be because they don't qualify for a loan. So maybe they would be willing to negotiate some premiums for you, higher interest rates on the seller financing, or even a higher purchase price, just because you're willing to give them that time that they need to qualify for a loan. Maybe they're repairing their credit, maybe they've just gotten into a new job, maybe they're waiting for some money they're expecting to come in that they need for the down payment. You know, if you'll work with them, you can ask for a little higher price, and it's a way for you as a seller, as you're exiting, to actually make more money on the transaction as you exit the property. Okay. This slide I'm just going to skip because it's just about selling, right? Okay. The area I really wanted to focus the most on was this idea of cash flow, okay? So cash flow is what happens to your cash while you're holding a piece of property. So like I illustrated with the tragedy that began, and I also don't want you to forget this word, the slide edge, because we're going to get to a slide on that in just a second. Like I illustrated with this guy that bought 25 properties and didn't put any renters in them. Okay, month one after he bought a piece of property, how do you think he paid the mortgage?
From his cash back at closing.
That's right. Here he thought he closed, he thought he had $5,000 in pocket. Well, the next day he turned around and, or the next month he had to take some of that money and pay the mortgage. And what was funny was as he was buying new properties, he had to take the money, $5,000 he was getting when he bought new properties, and he'd pay mortgages on other properties. And of course, before a few months had gone by, I don't know how he accumulated this many properties with his cash flow model. But those mortgage payments just absolutely ate him up. And
did he buy them all at the same time? Is that why the lenders and the CDF don't show up on credit?
I have no idea. Yeah, before my time.
Stated asset.
Yeah, it was back in the time when you could do stated asset loans, so it's probably
Hey, Trevor, did you get
a
time
big
like
part
this?
of it. You guys might want to employ some of these tactics.
We learned from people 10 years ago. Thanks for reminding us.
We learned a lot of things,
Yeah.
what not to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, the reason I had this particular picture up there was in honor of this particular individual. I don't know if this was on purpose, if he thought by burning one of the houses down, he could collect the insurance and pay the mortgage costs. But one of his vacant properties did catch on fire and burned to the ground. And after it burned down, he learned that the insurance had been canceled because no one had been living in it for at least 3 months. Yeah. So anyway, through foreclosure, through selling the properties off, and through fire, he ended up losing all of the rentals that he had. Okay. Now, on the other side of the cash flow model is McDonald's. Okay. So who's heard this story? One of the executives from McDonald's is speaking to a group of students, and he says, "What business do you think that McDonald's is in?" And the kids all say, "You're in the Hamburger King, right?" But of course, he turned around and said, "No, we're in the real estate business." So what did he mean by that? If you look at McDonald's right now, how many McDonald's franchises do you see? I mean, how much real estate do you think McDonald's has? It's huge.
9 intersections across the entire country.
Yeah, they're picking prime locations everywhere, and how do they pay for this real estate? It's not by leaving it vacant, right? Yeah, by selling hamburgers. Hamburgers pay for the development for this building of this massive real estate holdings that McDonald's has. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons retailers about 10 years ago, the only thing that kept them afloat was they owned the land that they were in and sold off. And that's why we're having this retail apocalypse now.
Yeah, so think about this. This is kind of one of the messages I wanted to get across in this meeting today. If you're thinking about getting into real estate, I mean, you can play the buying and selling game, and that is definitely a great way to make money. And you can see it making money on these transactions. But if you're missing one opportunity, if you're running a business that's making money, I don't care if it's selling hamburgers or legal services or internet marketing, if you're running a business that's making enough money that you can pay rent on your property, then you're probably making enough money that with a little help from the right people, you could buy your own office and you could be paying the rent to yourself. I mean, everybody's heard that term, right? Paying the rent to yourself. Over time, what happens is you build up equity in your property. Now, let's say you're just a small mom and pop shop, you only need 2,000 square feet. Well, there's no reason you can't get together with some other guys and work out a deal where 2 other guys rent the rest of the building. You buy a building bigger than what you need, but if you can sublease a couple of the spaces in the building, now those guys are helping you make your mortgage payment. Well, over time, what happens, let me get this next slide, is that you put into effect this principle called the slight edge. And what that refers to, this is a book by Jeff Olson. It's a very good book about how habits and processes really lead you to success. Because what happens is over time it builds up. Let's say that, you know, on the loan that you have for your office building, you know, let's say 2,000 is going to principal and 3,000 is going to interest, right? I mean, that's not necessarily illustrative at any point in time, but there will always be some amount that's going to interest where you're losing that money. You're paying it to the bank. It's part of using other people's money. You have to pay them for the money, okay? But some of that money is going to principal. And if you have a 10 or a 20-year mortgage for that commercial property, every month you're really just putting away a little bit of money until you've got that whole thing paid off. So it's not like, you know, after 3 months you could look at your you know, bank statement balance and say, wow, I've made a killing. But imagine buying a commercial property for, let's say, $600,000, and you're in part of it, and you've got 2 tenants in the other part, and 10 years goes by, and you've paid that mortgage off, and you say, wow, number one, without really coming out of pocket any extra money, I just made $600,000. And maybe after 10 years, the value also gone up. Maybe it's worth $800,000 now. Where's the number one place you see people applying this principle of the slight edge? In real estate. It's with your own home, right? I mean, I know a guy that used to refinance about every 2 years. That guy never applied the principle. He was always taking his cash out. But I know other people who, 30-year mortgage, 15-year mortgage, you know, by the time they retire, they will own a piece of property that's gone up in value. So they've really applied this principle of the slight edge to building up equity over time, letting that asset appreciate over time, and that's really making money in real estate. So if you're thinking about getting into real estate, I think the most important part to really sit down and consider before you jump in with both feet is how are you going to pay the mortgage on that property? You're almost always going to be using other people's money to some extent. How are you going to make that payment so that that money is working for you, building up equity for you, as opposed to working against you? Got ahead of one of my slides. Okay, so any questions about that? Now, if you get into multiple properties, the property just kind of, or the principal kind of compounds. So I was just talking about one of my employees who's got 5 rental properties. So not only does he need to have a tenant in the first property, he's got to have a tenant in all 5 properties. If he gets too busy and he's not collecting the rent, or he's leaving one vacant, you know, the first month, the slight edge says that's going to cost you a little bit. Second month, it's a little bit more. If he lets that really drag out 5, 6, 7 months, maybe he has 2 rental properties that end up vacant, he's going to really start to feel over time how that builds up. So the point with the tactics is that, you know, we have a principle. Strategy principle is your money's either going to be working for you or against you in one way or the other. Your real estate's either working for you or against you in one way or the other. You want to make sure that it's working for you. You want that slight edge to be working in your favor. And if you do that, then you can start to multiply your investments. in real estate, and at the end, you know, really have a large corpus of equity and property. And this is, again, just about the rental principle I've already talked about. I can't remember anything else I was going to say for this slide, so we'll keep moving along. Anybody else have any thoughts? I probably talked about long enough. So let me just tell you, you know, the main companies that I operate in this area are EBN Law. That's my law practice. So like I said, I've been doing real estate law for about 25 years now. I've been in title insurance for 22 years. Advanced Title's my company. We've got offices in Midvale, Bountiful, and Logan. And then Access Salt Lake is where we're going to have this LinkedIn training with Microsoft. And we do a lot of other stuff there too. If you haven't been by our Access location, it's kind of like networking like this every day. When we have an event there in the afternoon, you know, we're bringing companies in because it is a good place for a meeting. It's a good place, if you don't have a downtown location, to just get a conference room, set up an appointment, and come in and have your meetings there. And frequently you'll bump into other people there, and you'll have a chance to do some networking and do a business deal. That's the reason I'm there, is because it's led to me meeting people I wouldn't have known and getting involved in real estate deals or other business transactions that I wouldn't have been involved in if I wasn't getting myself out there into the business community and interacting with other people. So stuff like the LinkedIn training is really just an effort on the part of SL Circle to just create more higher value things that we think, you know, responsible, good business people, the kind of people that we want to network with, will bring them into the space and give us a chance to meet them. So I will be available, but let's take about a 10 or 15 minute break and come back, and we'll 10 minutes, and then we'll introduce our panel and give them a chance to talk a little bit about who they are and start taking questions about the tactics and strategies of making money with real estate. Thanks.